Welcome to Firearms of America. Today I have another Glock review for you guys. I love doing those. This is Glock 19 Generation 3, chambered in 9mm, 4-inch barrel. Let's do some shooting and see how a 4-inch barrel in a Glock can handle the punch from a 9mm. Alright, so starting with the magazine, you guys probably already know by now that this is my favorite type of magazine, the Glock magazine. Not only because it's nicely numbered, so people like myself who like to multitask, do the talking and loading at the same time, they're not going to be confused by the amount of rounds you put in it. But also because 15 capacity magazine, very impressive, and you can get 17, 19, 24, 31 and 33 capacity magazines in this little Glock 19. Really impressive. So let me put some 10 rounds through it. We'll see how the recoil, how this gun handles the recoil. Now, just about 2 minutes ago, I've been doing a review of a Glock 17, which is a 4.5-inch barrel, and that was handling the recoil absolutely beautifully. Let's see how this one is. Now, I am willing to bet that the guide rod in this thing is heavier than in the Glock 17, which technically should balance out the barrel length difference and of course the weight difference. All right, let's see. I will start with that yellow circle up top, see if I can hit it. All right, let's see how it can handle. Not too shabby. Got 3 close misses, but let me tell you guys, surprisingly, for just a 4-inch barrel, this handles very, very well. Now let's start with a few things. Obviously the grip. This is a standard Generation 3 grip. In fact, if you are interested, if you're really interested in detail, the difference between the Generation 3 and the Generation 4 Glocks, I did the video comparing, I believe, Glock 35, Generation 3 and Generation 4, where I explained the differences in the detail. But briefly, one of the main differences between the generations is the grip. There's a little bit more aggression in the grip in the Generation 4 guns. This is a little bit less. As you can see, this area is actually where you have your palm resting, right, on both sides. It's a little bit flatter. There is some aggression here, some serrations on the front and on the back. Honestly, I do like this pattern a little bit more than the Generation 4. Then you do have your mag release, which works fairly well. Now, the reason why I say fairly well is because in more compact Glock models, there's a tiny little bit of a problem with the mag release. Whenever you have your arm and you're trying to operate it with one hand, sometimes with your middle finger, you can't cover this rare piece of the mag release. Now, that can obviously slow down the release of the magazine. So keep that in mind if you're getting a compact model. One thing about the mag release, it is reversible. However, not really much point to reverse it because you won't be able, if you're trying to use your left-hand shooter, not much point there because the slide release is not ambidextrous. So keep that in mind. One thing I wanted to point out about the slide, it is definitely heavier, tougher to rack slide compared to the Glock 19. And another thing that's the difference between the generations, Generation 3 and Generation 4 Glocks, is that Generation 4 Glocks, they feature heavier guide rod, reinforced guide rod, and that makes the slide even heavier to rack. So if you want a softer, easier to rack slide, go with the Generation 3. But if this Glock 19 is a little too tough for you to rack, check out the G17, because that has even easier to rack slide. All right, so let's talk about the trigger. Of course, you have your standard safe action trigger, which basically features this little pre-trigger, kind of gives you the feel of the trigger before you put your finger on the trigger, right? So we have travel of about, let's see, trigger pull is 28, by the way, here, a little bit heavier than on Glock 17. And we have about 2.5 millimeters of very familiar safe travel, and then we have probably about 3 millimeters of kind of unsure travel, and after about 1 millimeter you have a crisp break. Pretty good overall. I think it is pretty good. Enough of the travel, enough of the pull, considering that this is something you will conceal carry without the safety engaged, because there is no safety. Yes, keep that in mind. You probably already noticed the rail on the front if you like lasers, if you like the lights. There are some serrations on the trigger guard, back serrations on the slide, which makes it easy to rack. However you rack, pretty good. Let's do some more shooting, and I'll try to come up with some reasonable conclusion for this one. Overall, I think it's pretty good. Now, if you are getting this gun for... well, you're probably getting it for concealed carry, right? Because if you want a gun, this Glock, right, chambered in 9mm, and you want it for home defense, you might want to consider maybe getting a Glock 17 or Glock 34, you know, chambered 9mm, and more capacity and a longer slide obviously makes it a little bit easier, right, to handle the recoil, obviously, because you longer slide, more of that mass to absorb the energy from the recoil. But if you want something that is a good balanced combination between something you carry and at the same time keep it as a home defense weapon, here's what you can do. Great option, Glock 19. Now, with your standard 15 capacity magazine, which is plenty, concealed carry, right? And for your home defense, you can get an extended magazine with some extended grip and have it for your home defense. Pretty good. Why not? So let's see how many rounds I have in here. Let me put them 6 rounds, because number 6, why not? Try to hit those pedals right there, and we'll talk briefly about a few more things, and then we'll do some conclusion. All right, let's see if I can hit that pedal. I didn't turn. 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 Yes. 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 And no. The last one. All right. So now you probably already noticed we have our standard Glock sights, which you will see on most of the Glocks. Sometimes we have the upgraded sights, which is just your standard 3-dot sight or night sights or fiber optic. Obviously the MOS on the newer Glocks, which is the modular optic system, kind of like a red dot, which is really a red dot, not kind of. But this is your standard Glock sight, which features this little bar on the back. Honestly, it took me a little bit of time to kind of get used to it, but once you do get used to it, you can really go back. It is pretty good overall. So, overall, again, Glock does not let you down. Works perfectly without any malfunctions. Feels very good. Everything seems balanced about it. Obviously a little bit more recoil than on the Glock 17, which is normal, which you would expect, shorter barrel, a little bit less weight, but nevertheless still very nicely balanced. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think about this gun, about this review. If you have any suggestions, I'll be happy to hear them out. If you have any requests for reviews, I'll be happy to hear them out as well. And if I can come across those guns or whatever you guys are requesting, I put them on my to-do list to make reviews as the priority. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. This is Firearms of America. I'll see you guys in the next video.